paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. Chances are you are hearing this in the new year, the first episode of 2025. I'm Corbin Hostler, joined by DJ and Cass here this week. And look, we had to take a week off. I edited the show a few weeks ago, and it took it out of me. All right, I'll tell you, me and my computer, we fought. I toiled for literally dozens of minutes.
Some would call that hours.
Editing the video, I found out, was very difficult. Editing the audio of the podcast, very fun. Actually, it's really.
Are you saying that JJ
really
has job
enjoyable.
security?
What I'm saying is that I maybe got 30 minutes into it before I realized that the Premiere files that we use, like all the assets for the video and stuff you see when you watch on youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery, which you should, by the way, all those assets don't necessarily work in the video editing program I use. So it was just going to be like a real hack job to get some, like to do it. And it just didn't seem worth, in the sense that like I could have spent many hours on it and may or may not have gotten to a finished product, but I did a hell of a job on the audio of the podcast. It's really fun. You line up the 3 audio tracks with people. You get to cut out every little because unlike JJ, I like to listen to the show.
Sorry.
So it was enjoyable. Welcome into 2025. We are here to talk about magic, ostensibly magic finance. And what we have for you today is a little bit of a treat, a look back at 2024, our picks of the week, the ones we liked, the ones that worked out, the ones that did not work out. It's always fun to do a retrospective here. And look, we used to always do it as kind of a game.
Is it always fun to do a retrospective, Corbin?
When you do it the right way. Is it fun to do a
retrospective on 9/11?
Yes.
Okay.
The Clydesdales kneeled in the Pepsi commercial, or was it a Miller Lite commercial? That's funny. That's fun.
Fun is like the word we're going to have to define, I suppose, here, because people do watch 9/11 documentaries. They do like scroll by on their TV guide and go, ooh, a 9/11 documentary. I'll stop and watch that. So like people do opt into it. I guess that doesn't necessarily imply it's fun. But you know, look, I've been editing 2024 best of articles for the past 2 weeks. People are into it. It means they click them.
I remember, I think I've told this story on the podcast, but it's probably been a while. There was a person who I would order supplies from, like top loaders and stuff like that. And their email signature was flag emoji, never forget 9/11, flag emoji. Not like sincerely or with love or
dude,
regards.
all those posers had never forget 9/11 email signatures in like 2006. Having it in 2025.
I mean, this wasn't recent. I will say this wasn't recent. This was like 2016, 2017.
Well, good.
But so it also wasn't not recent.
Yeah.
Speaking of, by the way, how were you all's holidays? I hope everyone got some time off work.
It was good.
What's time off work?
Well, yeah, at least a day, maybe, you know.
I had one of those good old-fashioned road trips that you take on a holiday where the heat in the car doesn't work during a blizzard. For anybody who lives anywhere with snow, you will know what that means. And what that does mean is like pulling over on the side of the highway to wipe off the windshield, because you can't use the windshield wipers to wipe away the snow, because then it'll streak and freeze and obscure your vision even more.
Douglas
so I had a nice
Johnson.
little like treacherous 2.5 hour.
No, DJ, you have thousands of dollars in Jigglypuffs behind you. Get a heater.
I mean, get a heater. I was driving to my uncle who was going to fix it. My
You have to drive there in the blizzard?
What?
Why didn't
You
your
have to
uncle
drive
come
there
to
during
you?
the blizzard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why didn't my
There's
uncle
some
come with me?
variables here that could be adjusted. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you could have
Let's-
driven at any other time.
He
This
could have
was
driven
for,
to
like,
you.
Christmas stuff. It was for holidays.
He could come to
Okay.
you.
Like, I'm going up to see my mom for the holidays, and, like, my uncle will be there, so I dropped the car
DJ,
off.
how long have you not had a heater?
I literally just bought the car from him the week before.
Okay.
This is
You
getting
get a pass.
worse, not better.
No, you get a pass. You get a pass, DJ.
I mean, it's not like your fault, but like now you've just been driving around for
The
a week
reason
without
I
a
bought
heater.
the car from him was because I knew that if something went wrong with it...
No, I get it. I get that. I'm just saying now you've been a week without a heater.
DJ,
This sucks.
you pass. You pass, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, good for you. I'm glad to have you.
I've
had
been
a
in
good
Corbin's
Christmas.
car, and I don't think Corbin's allowed to have car opinions.
I drive a Honda Odyssey, my guy. It's amazing.
Oh, did you get rid of the f***ing rusty Scooby Mobile, the Scooby van or whatever?
What are you talking
The
about?
browned out, rusted piece of nonsense you picked me up from in Oklahoma City? When we
I
went to
think
the climbing
DJ's
gym?
talking about a trip that was taken in
2018 or 2019.
2018 or 2019. I don't know, man.
DJ's car troubles aside, my holiday was lovely. I did
Excellent.
nothing
Glad
but
to
eat
hear that.
charcuterie for 2 days, and I watched the Hobbit movies, which was actually very bad, but that's because they're very bad.
Okay.
The first one's okay.
There's parts of them that are good.
There's a
Corbin,
lot of
what's your-
whimsy in parts of them.
Corbin, what's your go-to Christmas movie?
Lord of the Rings.
It's a good choice.
It's fair.
It's a good choice.
Fellowship.
Fellowship is the best one. That's a great choice.
It's specifically the Christmas one as well, because I set off on Christmas Day from Rivendell.
True.
The more you know. What about you?
I also
mean, what's
watched
the-
Die Hard, because that's also a Christmas movie.
That's what they say. I'll tell you what I don't watch anymore is A Christmas Story. I'm so beyond over that.
I hate that movie.
Yeah,
The
same.
thing is, man, if you were to ask me, I'd be like, yeah, I hate that movie too. But like, I probably don't hate that movie, man. I just hate that movie being on 24 hours.
No, so like I have a visceral, like shivering, like primal core fear of like the tongue on the cold pole thing.
Okay, fair enough.
That has like an anti ASMR. I fucking hate that so much. Just like visualizing and like just thinking about that. So like auto skip for me like every time. My Christmas movie every year, by the way, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I loved that one as a kid. That's a great
That
one.
one is getting to Christmas Story territory for me, where I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, that's why I try not to play it every year now. Like
Yeah. But it is good.
when I was a kid, I remember like a really little kid, like 6 or 7, my babysitter had a VHS where they had taped it when it aired on TV, and they had only half of the like cartoon that goes with it at the beginning. Where there's a song, so I never got to see the whole thing, but I did watch that whole movie as like a 7-year-old repeatedly.
That was probably pretty formative.
My favorite little
great
movie
movie.
fact about that one that I'm sure both of you already know is they filmed it in like the middle of the summer.
I don't know anything about this, so go ahead.
So
I did not know
everybody
that.
like when they're like standing outside waiting for him to like plug the lights in, they're all bundled up and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
90 degrees out and they're all dying.
It shows on their
I
faces.
would assume the most annoying fact you can share about that movie is that the kid is Leonard from The Big Bang Theory. That has to be the most eye-rolly fact you can share.
Is he?
Yes.
That
The
and
son.
then Chevy Chase is an asshole in real life.
Chevy Chase's son in the movie is Leonard.
Chevy Chase is just Pierce from Community in real life, apparently.
Yeah, he's just the worst.
That's what I've
Huh.
always heard.
That
yeah.
is Johnny Galecki. Good for him getting work even in his old age.
It hit me like I didn't even like no one told me that. I actually clocked this on my own one time because of the scene where he's whining to Chevy Chase outside the house when they're doing the Christmas lights. It's like, it's just Big Bang shit. Like, and it's not like I'm a Big Bang fan, but you can't not have seen that show.
My superpower is watching like big production movies, seeing a guy in the background and being like, that guy was on a skit comedy show one time, and being correct.
What did we watch? Oh gosh, I guess I'm gonna forget now. Mary
We
and I
watched
were
the
watching
Arnold
something
Schwarzenegger one last year.
Jingle All the Way. We watched Jingle All the Way last year. That's right. That one, I'd never seen that movie. That movie was fun. Maybe next year we'll watch a movie. Let us know in the comments, I guess. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do Christmas things again next year. This year we all just kind of took a break off. It was a busy time for everybody. I was doing some traveling for the holidays as well. But here we are, 2025, talking about Magic. And that is why we're going to kick things off in the most Brainstorm Brewery way possible with an ad read. For MTGstocks.com, the best place on the internet for all of your Magic the Gathering financial news. Make sure you check out the premium side of the website. That's what we do every week to keep ourselves informed for our Breaking Bulk picks coming to you now.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
That was actually a good misdirection because I thought you were going to say Breaking Bulk.
I did.
And so I was like pulling up the pricing of mine to like get ready to say how much it was. And
That was a two-parter, man.
Ad
It was a
read. So
two-part-
like,
yeah, we did it.
I have a Lorwyn common. God, if I say the color, I think that gives it away. But it's never been reprinted. It's a Lorwyn common.
Scar scale rich. What else? Shout out.
It's non-creature.
Is it green?
Needle drop.
No.
I think Needle Drop's bulk.
It's a Lorwyn common non-creature that's never been reprinted. I feel like that's enough information.
Gilt Leaf Ambush.
No.
That's a good guess, though. That used to be a
There's
bit.
probably like 20 cards that fit that, though, is the problem.
Yeah, I like this.
It's never been. Everything in Lorwyn's been reprinted nowadays.
Just give us the color.
That's not true.
It's white.
The counter. Oh, Lorwyn white card.
Is it the white enchantment that like deals with merfolk?
No, it's not. I know what you're talking about, but no,
Summon the School.
that's not an enchantment, Corbin. You merfolk fucking imposter.
I know. That's what I was saying. That was my favorite card from that. That was the one I was gonna name.
I thought
feel
this
like
would be
you're-
insta guessing when I said white non-creature Lorwyn card.
I mean, it's probably like some commander
yeah.
schlocks. That's why I don't know it.
I'm trying to remember like what's it, the white.
Lorwyn?
It was Merfolk and Kithkin, right?
Kithkin. Ooh,
Yeah.
maybe
So
it's
is it like Kithkin Harbinger? It's a common, you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it like Kithkin Harbinger would have been an uncommon? Is it?
I also said not a creature.
Not a creature.
I
Like
think
a
I gotta
removal
call it.
spell? Yeah, I think you get this one. You gave us so much info.
It's got to be obvious, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Shields of Velis Vel.
Oh, I didn't.
I don't even know
realize
what
that
this
was a
card
pick.
is, if I'm being honest.
It is
It's
a
a changeling
1 mana
card.
tribal instant shapeshifter. It's a changeling card, so it's a tribal. It's an instant changeling. I guess kindred now.
Yeah.
Creatures target player controls get +0/+1 and gain all creature types until end of turn.
Sure.
So
It's a
for
pick.
1 mana, you make
Sounds aware
all
of
your
it.
stuff dragons, or all your stuff elves, or all your stuff whatever your deck is doing, or whatever their deck is doing. Like, it's very funny with stuff like Coat of Arms. You can just, it's 1 mana white instance. It does give you a marginal toughness increase to potentially survive some weird things. But the card itself is a kindred card, so if you have like search for any elf, you can put it on top of your deck. It's just like a very, very versatile thing you can put in a creature type focused deck, and it's around $1. And because it's from Lorwyn with no reprints, if you list it at $2.99 and you have clean copies, no one's gonna blink to pay $3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
All right.
Foils are
I'll-
like $15, which makes sense. But
I'm gonna hop in
Sure.
here with a recent one that I don't think is hard. We were talking before the show about Duskmourn and how so many of the cards in it are just very powerful and pushed. And this is one that shows up at Uncommon that I think really flew under the radar when the set came out, but it's a red Uncommon.
wait. I'm gonna put my
Is
headphones
Untimely
on
Malfunction?
Corbin, I'm gonna put
Yeah,
my
it is,
headphones
Cass.
on the Roka, and it's gonna answer for me.
You see, you're already the human brain
I
is
already
undefeated.
answered.
Cash just
Oh.
did this while you were getting your pants on.
It's
Yeah.
the cards in Duskmourn are Untimely Malfunction, Withering, something that the 3 mana destroying
Withering
enchantment
Torment.
lose 2 life.
Yep,
Flood Pit's Drowner is like $1 now.
correct. The most
There's
expensive
Sheltered
one
by
you
Ghost,
need.
which is like $6 or $7.
Yeah, Sheltered by Ghost is insanely expensive. It's $7.
I think there's one more card that's worth money in this set.
There's
Uncommon.
actually a bunch of tokens worth money.
Sure, everywhere is a couple dollars. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the demon token, like the tokens are weird because like some of the double-sided ones are not necessarily worth money.
Yeah.
But some of the like single-sided ones, which I don't even know where you get them, are. But
Play boosters.
okay. Yeah, there you go. Nowhere to Run's the other.
Yes.
Wait, so what was the card?
Untimely Malfunction.
Do you know the
Card's
one,
a
DJ?
banger.
Yeah, it's a
Is
two
Untimely
red.
Malfunction just like a Braid variant?
No,
It's Shatter, Redirection, or Things
I
Can't
said
Block.
I said a Braid variant.
well, it's three. I guess. Yeah, it's three options.
A Braid
Shatter
kills
plus
creatures, though.
Yeah. It's strong. It's
This
$3.
is a Shatter variant, not an Abrade variant. It's like saying that, it's a square rectangle situation, again, as always.
Anyways, yeah, the tri modes are very good. It's also just the changing the abilities makes it good in Commander inherently.
They're
like,
all
in addition to
rectangles,
everything
by the
else,
way.
so.
They're all
Parallelogram.
rectangles.
Parallelograms.
Not if I cut off part of it. That's kind of square.
Kind of square by definition of rectangle.
If I dog ear my card.
I have a white rare from the Brothers War for you all this week.
Jesus.
Tokasia's Welcome?
Nope.
The one drop white card that taps to get counters in your white blue deck.
I don't even know what that card is, so no.
Okay, so no. That is a thing though. People know what I'm talking about at home.
Is it the soldier 1-mana 2-1 elite vanguard variant?
Nope. Not a soldier.
Brothers War. Bleh.
I'm gonna make sure I got the right set, so I'm not cheating on y'all
That's so
here.
long ago.
I can name a surprisingly high number of Brothers War cards.
Oh, I cannot. It just
It is
disappeared
Brothers
in my
War.
brain
It's a
as
rare.
artifact set.
Uh,
Power Stone set.
In the Trenches is mythic, right?
Yep. Well, y'all are getting cooked right now. This is a card that I thought that was a bulk rare for a very long time. And at the start of December, it climbed up to almost $3. It's called Soul Partition.
Oh,
I've seen this one on the
wow.
list. Yeah.
So white and a colorless, exile
Yeah.
target non-land permanent. If an opponent you exile it, then its owner may cast it from exile, and if an opponent casts this way, it costs 2 more. This card is a huge tempo swing. It's like a super unsummon, in a sense.
Yeah.
Card has like buy list is close to $1, has retail close to $3, multiple places.
This seems like it would be very good against the what are they called? The Overlords.
Kind of the Overlords get the value when they ETB, but like you use this to hit an Oculus or even a Kaito once it's your turn, stuff like that. That typically is pretty impactful. It's mostly seeing play in the blue-white Oculus Helping Hand deck, and also the weird Legends decks that are sometimes popping up.
Wow, this card being $3, I would never have guessed.
Yeah, that's good to know for sure.
And people don't know these things. And you know how you learn these things?
Mhm.
By joining patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery and paying as little as BSB. Patreon.com/BSB, is that what it is?
Uh-huh.
If you
We got that
don't
custom
know
link.
how many times I had to fight with Patreon's customer support to get
Yeah.
that shortened URL,
Custom
you better-
link.
and use it.
Let's
It's
go.
patreon.com/BSB. For as little as some amount per episode, you can get access to our picks and breaking bulks early.
I
Holy
do
shit,
And they
Aaron.
are valuable. As you're about to find out, they are valuable because let's look back at 2024. We're going to move to our picks of the week because hey, the breaking bulks, they were great breaking bulks. They're probably still breaking bulks. We got some picks of the week to look at. DJ, I'm going to let you start us off. Now, we're not going to do any kind of crazy games here. We're just going to look through, talk about what we liked from our picks, what we think worked out, what we think didn't. And DJ started the year off with a banger with the One Ring.
Yeah, that was going to be the one I brought up too, because if you look at it now, if you bought them in January a year ago and sold them now, you didn't do good. But if you caught the wave in the summer, you did very good. This card peaked over $100. You could have made like 30 or 40 bucks a copy. You could have even done the thing where you just like buy bundles and then crack those, and then you keep the One Ring, sell the rest, subsidize some of the product. Like the One Ring was a good pick for sure.
Yeah.
Phyrexian Arena at $4, not so much. Card has continued to tank. That's because it's gotten like 2 more reprints the past 6 months or something.
And it's been power crept, to be honest. Like I love Arena, and I've started cutting it from decks for just about any other form of card advantage. It's just so slow. Which is sad. That's like a peak Commander 2014 kind of card, you know? But 10 years later,
it still sells. Like I still
it's
sell
still
plenty
good.
of them.
It's fine. Like I'm not like putting it down, but like it used to. There was a time where it was like, oh, you're playing black. You got your Phyrexian Arena in there yet? And that's just not how it works. Looking back at my picks from the beginning of the year, the trend, I can see some playing the standard game there, but I also have targeted on purpose, I think, staples that either were just kind of languishing at a price, or, had eaten a reprint recently, right? Like, so Cyclonic Rift just kind of keeps doing its thing. They reprint it, it goes down, then it goes back up. It's just an easy game to play.
They also, learned not to... I shouldn't say they learned not to do this, because learning is not necessarily the word I would use to describe a lot of things at that company. But, historically, Cyclonic Rift has not been overprinted.
Yeah,
they'll do the Ravnica revised, Ravnica remastered anime one. They'll do borderless stuff and weird list printings of it. But I think that they at least recognize that as a card that they want to milk reprint equity out of and maintain as a premium card, kind of like Smothering Tithe or Rhystic Study.
Yeah, I'm going to run through its reprints here, and it's going to sound like a lot, and keep in mind that it's actually not, because this card is 12 years old now. Return to Ravnica, Commander 2014, Commander Masters, Double Masters, MM17, Ravnica Remastered. That's it. And you'll notice a lot of those came 7+ years ago.
So even in the past few years, it's just Ravnica Remastered and Double Masters 2022.
Yeah. And 2022 was, that is getting rapidly in the rear view, so.
Yeah.
Cass, what are you looking at from your first slate of picks?
Yeah. My sort of first quarter of the year was me picking standard cards, and I kind of had a 50-50 hit rate. Saying, there's the Titania I got it on cheap on. The World Souls Rage is spiked after one of the Pro Tours. But for the most part, I picked cheaper standard cards that I thought had potential, especially with upcoming releases, and it's a good 50-50 hits on those. And then you can see when we got into Modern Horizons preview season.
Yeah.
And I think of my ones I selected here, all but one of them saw play in a winning deck at the Pro Tour.
Well, I also see that you put a Vengevine pick in there early, and that card is obviously going crazy with the ban announcement now.
Vengevine is one of those cards that at $5 it was just too cheap.
Exactly.
It was always destined to be too cheap. And then you kind of can see where I got really into playing too much Legacy, and my picks got a little lost in the sauce, but almost all of those ones worked out. If you were the kind of person who bought Kaito at $8 when I told you to, you would have done great.
Yeah, that card was insane, right? So it still is. So, but price wise, it's really done it. One of the hits I had more in the middle of the year, but I had a pretty good line, I think, on MH3, and the Goyf spikes that came along on Nether Goyf and Barrow Goyf, they were not impossible to see coming, and I did in fact feel good about following those up. It's crazy how MH3, even now, things kind of exist, but still just
what does that mean? Things kind of exist.
So what I'm saying, well, that's what I'm getting to, is the cards from the set are played in Modern, but basically what the set gave us in Modern was Nadu and Energy, and it's still Energy is still the best deck. So I'm just looking back at MH3 over the summer and all the things we thought about playing and things we wanted to do. Some of them are now starting to find a home, where we spent so long just looking at two decks from that.
There are also just several things wrong with that statement, though, Corbin. Psychic Frog and Malevolent Rumble have seen play the whole time.
Sure. No one was talking, we're talking about Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog was not displacing Boros Energy or Nadu at the top of the meta. Right? That's what I mean.
Those...
Psychic Frog is the perfect example of a card. people want to play it and do stuff with it, and it has those decks are now it's finding a home. But at the Pro Tour, drowned out by Nadu and Energy, right? So it's we're finally seeing the Modern Horizons 3 stuff open up more fully.
To be clear, I was making a joke about how you were correct, and I nitpicked about the 2 cards that weren't relevant, really, but saw play. I was
My bad. I know I stumbled. Yeah, I stumbled through that a little bit. I just wanted to try to explain what I was getting at. Trying to think here. It's early in the year.
You're good. I also think
Brains
that
are still working.
Energy is not remotely close to the best deck in Modern. After the bans, I think that losing 2-mana Bloodbraid Elf and the card advantage engine has really put that deck in a worse position.
See we'll see what happens, obviously, and there's no big events going on, but Mardu Energy is still a fairly decent part of the metagame. You combine it with Boros Energy,
Sure.
It's still 10% of the metagame. Like, it's still a lot. I think that we're going to need another ban.
Well, I don't think Energy is going to need another ban, probably. I'm in a position where I played a bunch of the Blue-Black Frog deck before the bans against Energy, and that matchup felt very bad unless you went like turn 2 Frog into turn 3 Eye plus Counterspell up. I played like 6 to 10 games. I just sat and jammed games for a while against Energy, the new versions of it with the Eye Frog deck, and I don't believe I dropped a game. Like, that matchup is meaningfully different because they can't get hyper aggressive with a fast Raptor start, and they can't just like burn through all their action, then resolve a ring and take over the game. Like, Energy has the 2 things about it that made it so dynamic and difficult to meet on its level are gone now. They no longer can go 1-drop into 2-drop plus 1-drop or 2-drop plus 2-drop and just like out-tempo you.
Yeah.
Right. And now they actually have to match you on your level of resource accumulation if you're doing that. Like, if you hit them with a frog and you draw a card, they don't have a way to get that card advantage.
Yeah, they have to decide, right? The deck can't just have the best early game and the best late game anymore. But like, so my concern is that the energy decks are 10% of the meta in the exact period of time where nobody wants to play energy and everybody wants to play something
That's
fun.
where you're wrong, Corbin. That's where you're wrong, Corbin.
You think there's a lot of energy diehards out there who just really want to play Boros energy after they unban Jwin?
No, but I think all the unbanned, like, decks with unbanned cards, all the fun stuff isn't good and refined yet, and so it's getting crushed by the reasonably refined deck of energy.
That's a good take.
There's not that many energy players, they're just all winning because, like, sorry to say, Splinter Twin's unplayable. I tried really hard to make it work, and the best shell I found for it involved the card Karuga, which is a condemnation of the card Splinter Twin.
Yeah.
Like, Mox Opal's the third, like, it's like the third card on the list of the unbanned cards. Like, I think it's Looting Zenith Opal Twin in terms of how good they are.
I agree.
And, like, that's crazy.
Opal has been completely fine, which is neat.
It goes exactly
fear,
in breach.
That's a good point about the list not being refined. My fear is that we were looking at a time period where no one wants to play energy, yet energy is still winning. And that means that when we get to, say, a Pro Tour, and energy is still just the boring best deck, and it becomes 20% of the meta at the Pro, that kind of thing is what I fear when you see a deck eat multiple bans and still win at 10% of the meta. Like, that's
nobody ever
that's
wanted to play energy. People just like winning.
Exactly. And that's like, if people, like, when a tournament comes around that people really need to win, I fear that it means a lot of energy players.
But like, at some point, people are going to start playing other decks that are good too, right? Like, the breach decks are going to get refined enough that they're going to be good.
Yeah. No,
people are going to realize that Yawgmoth just kind of rinses like most of the decks people are playing right now.
Yeah. And there's a long way to go. I do kind of wish they had just taken Guide of Souls out, but so be it.
I think Guide of Souls is like, it is the perfect card to keep in because it goes with the core game plan of the deck so strongly.
Aggro. Yeah.
Like, it forces the deck to be a little bit more of one focus, and it falls apart a lot more if you deal with the Guide of Souls. And like, if your opponent plays their best card that's a 1-mana 1/2 and you don't interact with it for 4 turns and you lose, like, that's probably on you.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. Like, I understand what they're doing and the reasons behind it. It's just simply like a power level concern for me, right?
For sure.
Because if you signal to people this is what we're doing, and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep playing my Boros energy deck, and then you ban it again out from like that feels even worse, right? It was kind of like you had a chance to acknowledge that Modern Horizons 3 was just a complete disaster. You could not take a bigger hit than you had taken with Nadu. Just ban one more card, take energy off the map, let us play with Twin, and like
I think it's good. It's good to have people be able to still play most of their energy cards, and I think that The reason energy was good was how dynamic it was and how many different game
for
plans
sure.
it can play. But now that it can't, I think that Guide of Souls is not even remotely close to a power level concern.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like if Guide of Souls was the frustrating part for the aggro half, but you can deal with the aggro. You can deal with either half of the deck.
Yeah.
Which is why the One Ring needed to go.
But now they only have the one half, and their aggro plan is severely neutered because of the lack of Ampraptor.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think Modern's probably in a pretty decent spot for a while.
It's fun. Like, I played a Modern Weekly again. I haven't done that in years.
There you go. DJ, let's circle back on your picks. Like, what did you notice if you look back on your stuff here? Any trends or anything you like?
There's two picks that stand out that I am very proud of and happy because they are very me picks. Scarblade Elite is the first one. That one is completely free to make money off of. If you didn't make money off of that card, like that is the kind of card that I think I would advocate for. Like, this is my kind of spec. I don't really do a ton of specs anymore. Cabinets behind me, a lot of Magic cards to deal with. I don't just squirrel stuff away nowadays. But that is one that I bought fully with confidence. Assassin's Creed was on the wall ahead of us. It's one of the few cards in the game with Assassin on the card line, and it was just free money. And that's a Morning Tide rare specialty of just buy them and make your money. Great, easy, free, 100%. A couple of things I lost money on. Giada Font of Hope, that one just reprint. I've noticed a trend of all my, like, this card will be very, very good cards are just, like, kind of got reprinted, which is I'm not upset about. That's just how the game goes now. Arcanum Wings finally spiked again. Very happy with that one.
There you go. You've been making that pick for years, and we all knew it'd pay off eventually.
20-cent card for the past decade plus. It spiked during Theros Beyond Death because, like, with that, and by spiked I mean went from 20 cents to 80 cents. Which, when you're dealing with quantity, I have a 1-row box of this card that I'm just waiting for the $5 mark on. It's more of a pet card than anything else. I like the mechanic Aura Swap. I think it's cute and funny. I could not even tell you why it spiked during Bloomburrow, but it's over $1 now. It's hitting the $1.50 mark. I'm excited. Arcanum Wings, Hold, Diamond Hands, whatever, crypto money. A couple of my high-end picks, like you said, the One Ring worked out great. I don't normally do, like, modern competitive staple picks, but, like, the One Ring seemed very free for the play it was getting. Went up to $100, went great. Eye of Ugin, very free on the back of the Eldrazi precon.
Yeah.
They can't put Eye of Ugin in the Eldrazi precon. I don't know what to say. I picked it at $40. It went to, like, 70 or 80. Very happy with that one. Beyond that, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my picks overall. The ones I lost money on are just like, sorry you got reprinted, kid, for the most part. I don't see a ton of like, I mean, you can tell me if there's any that I made that were dumb. I'm happy to like take the L on some of them.
Well, the thing on things like that, it's like, there's lots of cards that maybe do or don't spike. It doesn't make them good or bad picks, right? It would be process oriented.
I don't know. Somebody like read the footage or play the footage of why I picked Chalice of the Void at $55. That's a fair questionable one. I don't know why I did that. I'm certainly not somebody who should be picking Chalice of the Void based on my knowledge of metagames. But I apparently, if you bought into Chalice of the Void, if you were like, Eye of Ugin seems like a good pick, but I'll wait for the next week's. Like, if you did that, my bad.
It was like, that was after Rhinos got banned, right?
Rhinos was like a February, March deck, and this pick was in May, so I think so.
I'm going to tell you all what, this has been a very interesting journey I've been on for the last few minutes here. I was looking through my picks, right? And I'm like, what was maybe one of my best ones? Like, just price-wise, not process-wise, just like what went up the most. And I see Hollow One promo that I made back in September. Okay.
Task failed successfully.
Well, at the time, Hollow One was, I'm going back to September, it was $4, and it was getting played a little more. Like, there was a reason I said to buy the promo, right? Because it felt like if anything happens to it, that's probably the best one. The promo, I then clicked on it to go through to TCG Player to find out the price of the promo. Now, the answer was confusing. Because as I'm looking at the live listings on TCG Player, there's like 15 total copies of the card listed, all at $50 or more on the except for the one that was listed at $5.97, shipping included at the top from a seller with 5,000 feedback.
Oh, did you run into the bug where you can't buy it?
Oh, I snap bought it and it says it's on its way. So I'll report back next week, I guess. But
how much is the winner one worth?
That would be some incredible karma that I go to look at my pick. I see that a store with enough feedback to not like be a straight up scam. Like it was like thousands of sales. Had one listed at $5.97. Maybe they just missed a zero because they wanted to list it at 57. I don't know, but I snap bought it, so we'll find out what happens.
Usually in those situations, it is like a seller turning their store back on after like a year. I don't know if there's any data to support that card ever being $5, but I don't know.
Is there not a TCG player listing for the
wait.
non-foil winner copy?
DJ, was it not always $5?
That was my question to you.
The promo was like $5 for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, on MTGstocks.
So that tracks as a reason why it could be
yes.
like a store just turned their inventory back on.
Yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood exactly what you were saying there. Yes, that's correct. The card was $5 for basically its entire time, according to MTGstocks. Like TCG Player is a little weird. It actually doesn't even have an image for it. So there's definitely maybe some weird SEO type stuff or whatever you want to call it going on here algorithmically. But that is a pretty good reason to have a misprice, right? You just turn the store on.
There's also 2 listings for the Hollow One promo. I'm not sure which one is the one that's non-foil with like the winner copy. Which one's the foil? Because some of them have the stamps with the store names on them.
The one that does not have the image is the top 8 one.
Well, I thought they were only for top 8.
That's a... Oh.
Because there's... I own a non-foil one with a store stamp name on it that is for a store that's local to me.
Yeah,
I don't know if that has a listing on TCG.
The Game Day and Store Championship promos ones appear to be $15 to $20.
But those are the foils.
Yes.
And then the one that says top 8 has a listing with a photo that's clearly a foil. Maybe that's just an incorrect listing. But also that one doesn't have a stamp on it. I'm very confused.
The one I bought
catalog
says
at tcgplayer.com is the email for that.
There you go. Yeah, the one I just bought lifted. I don't know anything about this card except that I could look at its graph.
Corbin Hostler 2024. I don't know anything about this card yet. He picked it for y'all to risk your money on.
Well, I picked it as a pick, right? But I don't know the distribution of the Hollow Ones foils versus not. Like, Jesus,
my point
man,
here
there's
is
all
really
kinds
this
of
card's
crap.
kind of a mess.
Yeah, no kidding. But you know what? That deck is a mess, and it's the hottest, funnest mess in Modern. I remember when that deck broke out. It was so cool. People playing Goblin lore on camera. That was during the
Burning
GP
Inquiry
heyday.
with Orcish Bowmasters is a hell of a drug.
Oh, now we're talking. Oh, gosh, I like this. Yeah, there's some fun things you can do in Modern these days, and we're going to get a chance to do a lot of it in 2025. There's live events coming back more than ever, starting with the Magic Spotlight Series this weekend, right, DJ?
Yes, I will be in Atlanta for the SCG Con. That is the Magic Spotlight Series for Standard. I checked the player count this morning for the main event, and it was 1,000 out of the 2,000 cap, with 5 days left to go. So reasonable chance that it caps, I think, and that's just for the main event. There's a sizable prize pool. There are events of all different formats and structures. There's a CEDH 5K. There's modern stuff. There's a legacy thing where you win some old boomer thing. I don't know. But it is the first Magic Grand Prix we have had in a while. For those who know what that means, Magic Grand Prix / Magic Fest / Magic Con.
Yeah, they're calling them Spotlight Series these days. The cool thing is that there will be, should be, my belief, is live event coverage of all of these. Not just video crew, but like Wizards is also sending a writer to it. Like literally the old school GP days where there's the TO providing tournament Twitch coverage, but also Wizards doing official coverage for the website. So for me, that's like the full works of being back, of a live event where you're there.
If there's a 2,000 person GP in 2025 that I can read text coverage for, like, we're back. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And
That's
with
the plan.
And with Final Fantasy and Marvel still in the tank too, not even out yet.
Well, I mean, that might kill the numbers for these. We'll see.
I think it's just going to blow the hell up. I'm
not sure that Final Fantasy and Marvel releases convert people to playing in Grand Prix level events for a couple years.
Yeah, you're right. Not immediately, but I think that these are the free to enter, right?
No. Well, the
Do you mean free to access? Yes. Free to play? No.
So it could. I mean, they're going to have all their other things going on too with the,
you
whatever.
You don't need to buy a badge to get into the door.
Right.
Yeah,
so it is what I'm asking. It's like that kind of is a big differentiator between GP, Magic Fest type stuff versus Magic Cons, where you're paying hundreds of dollars to get in or whatever. This is, I saw Final Fantasy and Marvel, and now there's an event. I'll wander on down and check it out, kind of thing, even if they're not in the main event.
So this is just anecdotal, but and like I've noticed over the past few years, the Magic subreddit has become way, way more inundated with new player questions.
Yeah. Extremely hyper casual over there.
Clearly just like anecdotal evidence of like what my social media feed is, but it's way more new player, brand new rules interaction questions, just unsleeved cards of like a gift kit's worth of stuff.
Yeah.
So take that as what you will. I don't know.
Now, I'm not on Reddit all the time. I am on Magic Reddit sometimes. What I've actually noticed in some of the discussions about the Universes Beyond is a year ago, even much less 2 years ago, it was all hate for Universes Beyond and people saying it's going to kill Wizards and take players out of lower player numbers. Even if it short term it's good, blah, 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 it's going to kill, Magic is dying. And meanwhile, we're over here talking on the show like, actually, these new players I'm meeting are like real Magic players. They're just like you. They just happen to enter the game because they liked Final Fantasy or whatever, right? Even Reddit is getting to be a lot of, like DJ mentioned, when people do their, Universes Beyond is terrible, there's a lot more pushback of someone being like, no, I got in 6 months ago with Universes Beyond, or I started 12 months ago with Universes Beyond, and now I have 4 commander decks. Like, those people, like, talking about the delayed effect, they're making their way to Reddit, and you're seeing just kind of the sea change of Universes Beyond shift happen. Like, it used to almost be like this taboo thing where you had to be against it. And these days, it's getting a lot more acceptable to just be like, actually, I think it's great. And by the time Marvel hits and Final Fantasy hits and these events just pop off, it's going to be an exciting year for Magic, I think, at the event scene. Also exciting is our picks of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
We'll get you this first one here. This goes into the spreadsheet, which you can access via patreon.com/BSB as 12:30, but odds are you might be hearing this one if you aren't a patron at the beginning of the year. So welcome to 2025. Here are our first picks of the year. I'm going to go with Wrenn and 6. Indomitable creativity type decks are back. This card is seeing a resurgence in Modern. It did nothing but drop from when it was $75 back in 2022. It bottomed out at $11 2 weeks ago. Today, back up to about 15, 16, and listing even higher than that. So if you can find a good copy of Wrenn and 6 under 20, probably going to see this thing continue to climb as more people pick up Modern over the next few years, or few months rather.
I remember the bidding war of Wrenn and 6 in 2019. That was the height of Magic Fests. The whole. I think there was a Reddit post of like somebody holding up a sign saying paying $85 on Wrenn and 6, and then like the next booth over there was like a big whiteboard with like paying $80 on Wrenn and 6 scratched out, paying $90 on Wrenn and 6.
I remember GPDC 2019, the one like Modern Horizons 1 release event.
Hogak.
The highest buy list number in the room for MH1 was Hogak. There was a vendor paying like $22 on Hogak. Wrenn and 6 was $20 on that buy list. Yeah.
Not me. I was not the one running the booth or making the decisions because that was the event where everyone knew it was getting banned. But I remember handing people the money. I think Hogak was actually like 25 or 29, and I remember paying you specifically a bunch of money for it.
So that event was the buy prices were so nuts for MH1 at that event that the game store I was working with at the time was like 3 or 4 miles away. They've closed down since because COVID and all that. But I was going there. I was like, "Hey, can you get your distro to send us a ton of MH1 like by tomorrow?" And the distro managed to make it happen. We were just sitting in the store cracking packs and pulling out the cards in the hot list, buy listing them, and making money. We did we basically asked our distributor for as many MH1 boxes as they could get us by the next day. It was such a sick event.
Yep. I was there. I don't know why my boss at the time decided to pay those numbers. He clearly did not make any money on them because the car was banned shortly after, but I remember sitting behind the booth and being like, I'm just following orders. Here's all the monies. God, Red and 6 being $12 just is a world.
It's wild.
Well,
it feels like Corbin being $6.
Yeah. That was the card. I walked in. I remember when they had those $100 collector proto collector boosters or whatever of Double Masters, and I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me I can spend literally $100 on a singular pack of Magic the Gathering cards? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would like to buy one. And I opened this Red and 6 textured foil that was worth like $200, and I just looked. It was $30 last week. So I hope that thing goes back up. It's sitting around here.
Wait. I was about to say, do you still own it?
It's in it's either in that box. We were talking about this before the show. I have a box of expensive Magic cards that's in my A, and I really hope I find it. Well, yeah, I really hope I find it. And yes, it's either in there or it's in a different box downstairs. So who knows? Schrodinger's Ren and 6.
I don't know why, Corbin, but I always imagined you recording in a basement. The room you're in has very basement energy.
Corbin has very basement energy, that's why.
Yeah. Learning that you're upstairs has me...
I have like a split level house, kind of. I'm on like the middle floor at the moment.
I think I've talked about this before, but I don't know if Cass was on when I did. Corbin's house forever to me is just the house from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Sure.
With the little windmill outside, the dirt, and just like creaky sounds everywhere. The guy outside is knocking, return the slab.
I live in like a 3,000 square foot 3-story home, you guys, right down like the park's 100 feet away. It's as urban as it gets.
It's as urban as it gets has been called.
In Oklahoma.
Perhaps suburban would have been the word I was looking for.
Corbin's in a goddamn New York brownstone. Right next to the bodega.
Next door just got fancy indoor plumbing.
We're getting
it's about as urban as it gets there, buckaroo. Watches Corbin shrinks in real time as he realizes that he's a hick. It's okay, we love hicks on this podcast. I'm a hick.
I ain't a hick. All right, let's get some picks of the week in here. What do you all got?
I am going for something that was in the 20 ways to win Commander deck. It is one of the 20 ways to win. Arguably one of the best ways to win in Commander games nowadays. Revel in Riches is not hard to put together a squad of treasure tokens for. And it is the only version with alternate art. So if you don't want the original art for Revel in Riches, this is the only fancy art you can get. It is currently the most expensive Revel in Riches at $35. It's the one with the little Tanuki on it from the Commander deck, 20 Ways to Win. And I have a lot of faith in this card. I have a lot of faith in most of the cards in that deck that have their alternate printings. Historically, those kinds of cards have done very well. The Propaganda from the Coin Flip deck, the Archangel Avacyn and the Nico Bolas from the Acute to Brute. Just those cards in that limited print run deck tend to do very well as people just discover them, like the players we were just talking about, the ones who join through Universes Beyond, or like the more casual player who just doesn't hyper focus on social media and they just find this version exists 6 months to a year from now and they're like, well, that one has a cute animal on it and my Commander deck plays cute animals, and they will happily pay $50 to $60 for this, just like they pay $80 for the Cat Dog Soul Ringer in Anointed Procession.
Yep.
Yeah.
Banger pick. My pick of the week is a standard pick for a card that I think is going to win the GP next weekend.
I like this.
It's Collector's Cage from Outlaws Thunder Junction. Big Score.
Big score.
This card spiked right when it came out too.
Yeah,
it was,
so
it was
$20
very
card
hot
or
on
something.
release.
Yeah.
It's back down to like $1 or $2.
It's cheap.
It is a big score card, so it has a slightly lower supply, I think, than other rares and mythics in the set.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a green-white Collector's Cage deck going around right now that I think is one of the very few decks that has a positive matchup into the red aggro deck. And its biggest predator is the Sunfall decks, which I think are in a pretty poor position otherwise in the metagame.
Yeah, it's a lot of Dimir right now, right? So anything that can combat that is going to do it. I actually edited an article one of our players wrote about this deck just yesterday. It is a very real standard deck. I love this pick.
Yep.
Hideaway is just such an incredibly powerful mechanic.
My other pick of the week was going to be Aberrant Oculus, but the US retail prices are slowly catching up to Japanese buy lists. It's been almost like a month now of Oculus being almost like $50 US on Japanese buy lists.
Mm-hmm.
And the card is finally climbing up past the $25 mark that it was at for weeks and weeks in the US. So
yeah, it spiked hard.
I remember our
just
booth,
missed on that one.
The booth I was working for in Vegas was paying above TCG low on this card in Vegas. I think our number was 30 or 32 when TCG low was like 28.
Yeah, it's busted for sure in multiple formats.
It's even better now too. It's probably I think the blue-black Oculus deck is the baseline best deck in Modern now.
It seems.
What does this deck do exactly? I know that you're unearthing this card into play. What else are we doing?
It's Psychic Frog, Murktide, and Oculus are your threats. It's a bunch of cantrips, including Thought Scour and Consider, counter spells in the form of Force of Negation, Counterspell Proper, Spell Pierce, Spell Snare, Fatal Pushes.
So we're delvering.
We're kind of delvering. I have a copy of it right here. It's what I played at my local yesterday. Deck is nice with it. 4 copies of Unearth. 10 fetch lands? A lot of fetch lands. You gotta get cards in your graveyard for Oculus. I think that's every card in the main deck I listed. There's a Cling to Dust.
Man,
and the sideboard just have like Bowmasters.
When we're talking about like powerful cards from 12 years ago, they aged like incredibly well. Faithless Looting is clearly at the top of the conversation, but like Thought Scour, what a dude, what a champ. Just like cruising under the radar power level wise to just do all of the broken things.
It got a little replaced by Consider in some lists, but when you just want volume, it does that.
I had a game where I went turn 1 fetch land, go into turn, crack fetch, shock myself, Thought Scour, mill 2 spells, draw a card, untap, crack fetch, Murktide Region is a 6/6, say go. Doesn't get better than that.
I agree.
Force Negation backup, opponent died 2 turns later.
That's great. Modern. All right, and speaking of, that's Brainstorm Brewery. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. It was great to start the year off with you and DJ Cass. For the rest of our crew, we'll have Jason in here for some after hours we're going to try over the next few weeks, so look for that coming. In the meantime, go to patreon.com/BSB. Check it out. You can also go to our sponsor, MTGstocks.com. That is always worth your time, as well as, our Discord server you get access to via Patreon. So thank you, everybody, for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.
See you next year.
See you next year.